Good morning, Bentendo here. I'm a clinical psychologist in Las Vegas and a hardcore Nintendo fan. And in my previous video, I presented the word FACTURE, which was one of my favorite words in art school. And you can get more details about the word itself and its meaning in that video. Basically, it refers to the moment-to-moment actions we take to create something. So it refers like to the paintbrush strokes in a painting, or the actual lines, the types of lines you draw in a drawing, and so on. And it has relevance to video gaming and to life, because it's important when we feel stuck or we're frustrated because we're not where we want to be. It's really important to just enjoy the moment-to-moment facture of experience, staying present, staying in the now. And I had an experience with that this morning that is where I had to practice it myself. But before I get into that, I just want to say that one of the great things about practicing this, being present and focusing on the facture rather than on the outcome, is that when you do that, it's not always easy. But what happens, and I'm going to describe it in a video game kind of way, but you can apply it to anything in your life that's frustrating you, so what happens is you just let go of the goal, you let go of the outcome, and you just focus on where you are in the moment, and you do your best to take in all the things that you enjoy about the moment, right? So what happens when you do this is you just kind of let go. And obviously there's always that pull, right? It's innate within us. We will always desire to get to our goals. Even when we deliberately detach from it, the desire is still there. But the point is that you don't get super frustrated and start yelling and screaming. And ideally what I try to do is every time I fail, I try to not make a sound. Don't make any groans. Don't go ah, or don't express your frustration. Rather, just kind of detach from that, because that generates a kind of energy of disappointment and frustration, and creates more of it. So the key is really to try to just let go, just kind of shed the frustration, shed the disappointment, and just accept. Right now, I'm working on a challenge that's a little bit beyond my abilities, and I got a little frustrated, but I'm going to let go of that frustration, and I'm just going to fall in love with the moment-to-moment experience of being where I am, of the facture of this level of the game. So the Mario games are a really good place to practice that, especially tougher levels. You just, there's things to enjoy. There's music to enjoy, the sights, the sounds. It's a beautiful work of art. And the same could be applied to life. Even when we're in the worst case scenario, we're all part of nature, and nature is beautiful. Even when we might not think that we're in a part of nature that's beautiful, there's beauty in all of nature. So the key is really to fall in love with it. And the amazing thing that happens when you do this is you kind of get really connected. You become one with the moment and with the level and with what's happening. And then all of a sudden, what happens to me is I'll just be playing the game and I'll just get lost in it. And I get to a point where I don't care if I never pass this level. I just don't care. I'm not invested in that. There's a part of me that wants it. It's still there. But I'm just enjoying just being in the level, just going through it over and over. And what happens is all of a sudden you just realize, okay, wow, I just got to the end of the level. It just happened. And usually when that happens, I'll throw my arms up in the air and, have this kind of I'm this feeling of championship and, a really I'm the hero of the day. I saved the day. I'm a hero, it feels really good. But what's magical about it is you don't feel like you were fighting for it, right? You don't feel like you were struggling or working through frustration or anything. There's a lightness about the whole thing where you just kept training yourself, right? You just stayed in the game, and then all of a sudden, oh, that's interesting. right? So then the goal itself has a whole different meaning because you've already made peace within yourself. And then the getting to the goal, beating the level, is just part of the facture of the whole experience that you've been through. And so just the last thing I'll say is that this morning I had that experience myself because I was playing Skyward Sword, Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, and I'm a little bit, about 20 hours into the game, and I was playing this part where you go underwater. Those of you that have played Skyward Sword will know this part where you're in Faron Woods and you have to go to, I can never remember all the names. I think it's the goddess Faron, the water goddess that was that got into a battle with Girahim and was reduced down to being in this little vase. And you go and you meet her, and then you have to go get the sacred water, and then you bring it back, and then she grows into this big resplendent goddess and opens up the next temple for you. I love all that part of it. It's so cool. It's cool to see the big goddess come out, and it's kind of neat too because I feel like it's a way to have an experience with ancient forms of spirituality when our ancestors believed in these like local gods and goddesses that were just different from the types of gods that people tend to believe in today in the monotheistic traditions. So anyway, but getting back to the point about Facture is that I was getting kind of frustrated because anyone that's played it may have, maybe you're a better video gamer than me, but I always struggle with the part where you have to spin underwater. You have to spin to leap over these little like barriers, and it's just one of those things. I don't know about you, but for me, in certain games, there are certain things that are just so challenging that I just want to get them over with. And I'm like, I have to do this again. It's so frustrating. It takes me so many tries. Like, why can't I get this right? And I was getting frustrated this morning. I'm like, this is my 1 hour to play Zelda before work, and I'm getting really frustrated. And I have to jump over another one of these damn things again. So basically, you have to hold two controllers to play Skyward Sword because you use one to hold your sword up in the air, and then the other controller to do other things. And I was just getting so frustrated because I thought, well, sometimes I'm shaking it and it's not working and I can never get it in the right direction. And I said, okay, let me practice what I preach and just start enjoying it. And so I thought, and when I did that, I suddenly was like, okay, this is beautiful. This is actually beautiful music. It's a beautiful little underwater place. There's beautiful little fish swimming around. The music is soothing. Okay. I still want to get over there to the goddess in the basin and bring her the sacred water. But I'll get there. Okay, let me just kind of relax and enjoy myself and enjoy the facture, the process of where I am. So I started just practicing a little. Let me just practice the spin. And then I realized, because I slowed down enough to just like back away from it for a little bit, I realized I wasn't even shaking the correct controller. So no wonder I kept screwing it up. So you actually have to, you swim and aim with the right controller, but then you have to use the left-hand controller to shake. So no wonder I wasn't like spinning correctly to shake and spin, because I was shaking the right controller and trying to swim with it. And then I think what would happen is then sometimes my left hand would happen to shake enough at the same time, and it was just so confusing. So anyway, that's my experience of Facture. And then I thought, oh, okay, now this is really easy. Now that I understand what I'm doing wrong, Anyway, I found that one of the really cool things about Nintendo games is they're so beautifully and intricately and sensitively calibrated that at times there might be a little frustration in learning a new skill or mechanism, but then once you learn it, you're just like, wow, this is really, you can do a lot with this, and you get good at it, and then it's just weird how like you go back to play certain games and then you just fly through them. like it's been years since I've played Skyward Sword, and I go into the boss battles expecting them to be really like difficult and brutal and challenging, and then they're over in like 20 seconds. I'm like, that's not how this was before. I remember dying over and over, and so it's just kind of amazing. Like video games actually do develop new skills in you, you know, and Skyward Sword is great because it forces you to like think on your feet and have a really fast reaction time, because these enemies will, you know, hold these things up and you have to swipe in the right direction at the right time. So yeah, I really do believe very strongly that video games are so good for our brain functioning, for cognitive functioning, executive functioning, for helping us to be sharper. And I find actually that I do other things better when as a consequence of playing video games. You know, I mean, this is just based on my own experience, but I feel like I write better. I do other things better because I've gotten good at certain skills with video gaming, like hand-eye coordination and seeing something and responding to it and being attuned to what's happening around me, right? So yeah, video games are the bomb. Anyway, okay, well, hope you have a beautiful day. I forgot my sunglasses. I think I left them at work last night, so go get them this morning. Hopefully they're there. Have a beautiful day. Love you very much. Hang in there. Take it one day at a time. Bye-bye.